Posted by u/OK Transition 1878. AITA for having a craving of something that makes my partner sick? I, 25F, recently found out I was pregnant with my partner Lyle's, 26M, baby. We've been together for 3 years and we live together. Lyle has ADHD, which he refuses to get treatment or medication for. He's pretty normal about 85% of the time, so I haven't really pushed it. One thing that really affects him though is sensory problems. He has a few, but the biggest one is bananas. He cannot stand the smell of a banana or the taste of banana. He's accidentally eaten something with banana before and ran to the bathroom like a child to throw it up. If we are somewhere and someone is eating a banana, he will claim that he can smell it in the room and make us move with the threat that he will get sick. If we don't move, he will start gagging, make himself throw up, and I've seen him start shaking too. This has happened in public before and it's extremely embarrassing. Anyway, let me tell you what happened. I was really tired, pregnant, and hormonal yesterday, and while I was watching my show I had a craving for a banana, which I normally avoid when around Lyle, but pregnancy cravings are just too strong to resist. He was going to get groceries from work, so I called and asked him to get me some bananas because I was having a craving. He started begging me before he even got them to not eat them in the house, and I just got fed up and told him no, that I was carrying around his child, and the least he could do about it since he's not the one having to nurture the damn thing in his stomach was get me a banana. I'd read online that this was probably the baby's way of telling me it's deficient in potassium, and that all I could really stand to eat at this point was the damn banana, and I don't want to deprive it of what it needs. He argued back and forth asking me to go eat it outside at least, and out of frustration I just started crying, which made me feel embarrassed. He finally gave in to calm me down and brought it home. I'll admit, I was still really mad and upset from our argument on the phone when he came home, and I in that moment couldn't face getting up and going to the kitchen. When he came into the living room and sat on the couch, I asked him to peel it, cut it, and bring it to me. I really didn't think that was a big deal, but he blew up at me and told me that I knew it made him sick to even smell or touch. I told him that plenty of people have foods they don't like, and he either needs to grow up or seek help for his illness because he's acting like a child and his problem with bananas is completely abnormal. We argued a bit more, and he finally got up, yelled that he was tired of my bullshit, and left the house. He hasn't been back yet. I get his issues are a sensitive topic for him, and when I was talking to my friend about it, she said she had an autistic sister and what I did was a bit messed up. So, Reddit, AITA? Now on to some comments. Posted by Rick Ontk. I was with you until you made him peel and cut it for you knowing how he reacts to it. You're an AH for that. Just peel and eat the damn thing, and I'm guessing you're not far enough along that you can't grab the banana and toss it afterwards yourself. Uda. Compensate 1995 responded with, Uda, wow. You keep saying that he's acting like a child, but you are the one who acted out of petty vengeance. I like bananas, so it's hard for me to relate to that. But there are certain dishes that absolutely repulse me. He bought you the bananas to his dismay, because he felt bad for you that you cried. And how did you reciprocate him? You wanted to humiliate him, making him do something he despises for your satisfaction that you made him do that. I also don't like it when people, repeatedly, write he's acting like a child. It seems like people try to diminish one's needs/preferences/wants by saying that. You can't evaluate his maturity. It seems like you don't respect him as a partner. Moreover, I would act like him if I were in his position. Who wouldn't? Worried_Erie_7512 responded with, same. I'm pregnant and had your back until you wanted him to peel it, cut it, and serve you like a princess when you've mentioned multiple times you know the smell makes him sick. Eating a banana because it's a craving even when you know it makes him sick is one thing. I'd have thanked him for getting them, stepped outside, eaten my banana and then returned to rinse my mouth. Uda for minimizing something that is obviously an issue for him just so you wouldn't have to walk to the kitchen. Beneficial_frame_565 responded with, yeah, same the moment I read that I knew Op didn't have pure intentions. That is something you ask someone out of spite especially if you know they have sensory issues with said food. MRJ_SAR responded with, Uda, that and the whole he ran to the bathroom like a child. Does he need some help? Yep, am I already dreading how she'll bring up this child? Also yes. I get strong vibes of her grabbing a 10-year-old and shouting how they're acting like a baby. Kyle_not_Lyle responded with, hey guys, it's Kyle here, Jessica's boyfriend. Yes, she literally changed my name from Kyle to Lyle and thought that was good enough. One of her friends sent me this and I want to set the record straight because I am beyond pissed off. First of all, I want to address this refuse to get treatment or medication BS. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a freaking child. It took until college to realize I needed to adapt things to how my brain worked rather than slap a medication over it and try to pretend I'm neurotypical. I adapt well in life. I graduated on the dean's list in college and I'm doing well at my dream job and thriving as a ND person. Do I still forget about the laundry sometimes, or have a hard time focusing on certain things, especially when I'm tired? Yes, and it pisses Jess off. Does mean I have issues? Freak no. This medication BS started almost immediately after we found out Jess was pregnant like a month ago. It wasn't approached like, hey Kyle, I notice XYZ that seems to be hard for you, I think you need help with that. I was instead first asked if my ADHD was going to spread to the baby, literally spread was used, and second told that I should probably take this as a chance to get it under control, because she didn't want the baby to grow up dealing with any problems. Now let's get to the sensory aversions. I have been through therapy to manage it. I can now, after years, touch paper towels without my gums hurting, but bananas I just cannot deal with. People who aren't ND and don't deal with sensory aversions don't understand that it is literally physically painful in many cases, and genuinely makes me sick. I don't make myself throw up. My body naturally reacts like that. Jess has told me many times about how embarrassed she is by it and how it affects her, and her solution is exposure therapy. What she doesn't realize is that's essentially the same thing as torture to me. There are some cases, like the paper towels, where I've realized it's just a little too common, but bananas are not common enough for me to sit there and torture myself just to make her feel less embarrassed next time she wants me to try a smoothie her sister makes and lie about the ingredients. Finally, other details I think are important. I'm just going to bullet these because I'm going to write too much otherwise. Jess was binge watching a show on Netflix and wanted me to bring her a banana while she watched the show on the couch. We are in a one-bedroom apartment and the smell would probably be there at least for a day. We had gotten in an argument about my ADHD and me not having meds, CP.2 and 3, the day before, so this didn't seem like a sudden craving but more a cruel jab since it was still tense. The pregnancy wasn't planned, and no, random commenter, I didn't freaking grape her. She was on birth control, and it failed. She wasn't too sick to get up. She was too lazy, and pissed, and told me to go cut it for her because I just want to watch my show in peace. I'll admit, I snapped when she insisted. I cut the banana, and do just this one thing for our child to show I care, as if she didn't go out and quit her job pretty much immediately without even telling me, and I'm now dealing with all the household expenses while she shops. I've also been caring for most of the house, because she's already claimed being too pregnant for morning sickness. So yes, I was fed up with her bullshit. ADHD is not an issue. It just means my brain works a little different. I'm so tired of the ableist bullshit that's come from nowhere. TLDR. Get over yourself. Edit, I didn't realize bananas were such a common aversion. Everyone always told me it was weird. I say we outlaw bananas? Posted by Sunfloweries. Wow, there is so much shaming going on in this relationship. I understand that living with someone's untreated ADHD can be extremely difficult. But look at what you've written. 1. He's pretty normal about 85%. 2. Ran to the bathroom like a child. 3. And it's extremely embarrassing. 4. I just started crying, which made me feel embarrassed. 5. Told me that I knew it made him sick. 6. He either needs to grow up or seek help for his illness because he's acting like a child. 7. His problem with bananas is completely abnormal. I get that you're frustrated, but you need to learn to let go of some of this shame and resentment. You cannot shame someone into getting help for something like ADHD. In fact, that's going to make everything worse, and create a huge barrier between the two of you. Let go of the shame. Let go of the need for things to be normal and to be so worried about how you're perceived by others. Because even if he does get treated for ADHD, not all of his behaviors are going to magically disappear. That's not how it works. Anyway, are you the a-hole for having a craving? No, of course not. But are you the a-hole for how you talk about and treat your partner? Yes, 100%. Kyle_not_Lyle responded with, Lyle here. So, my ADHD is treated. Just not to my girlfriend's liking. I've worked a lot on adaptation, and I do well and am successful in what I do. On the contrary, Jess sits on the couch and does nothing all day. I have a history of reacting poorly to medication, too. The sensory aversions are very difficult to get rid of, and vague treatment isn't a magic solution or guarantee that it'll just go away. This all started after she got pregnant and did a 180 as far as personality goes. Suddenly, it became all about how I'm going to spread it to my child and make their life awful. All because I can't deal with bananas, and I sometimes forget to change out the laundry or reply to a text. Posted by Anovadia. If we are somewhere and someone is eating a banana, he will claim that he can smell it in the room and make us move with the threat that he will get sick. If we don't move, he will start gagging, make himself throw up, and I've seen him start shaking too. This has happened in public before and it's extremely embarrassing. So, you've seen him start shaking, and you're embarrassed? I'm biased because bananas do the same thing to me, but I assure you the reaction is real. Out of all my sensory trigger foods, bananas are the worst. When my colleagues would eat one near me, the smell made me want to throw up. I held that response back. Actually, I think I generally get out of there while they're eating it, but that doesn't mean those reactions weren't there. I told him that plenty of people have foods they don't like, and he either needs to grow up or seek help for his illness because he's acting like a child and his problem with bananas is completely abnormal. There's very little that can be done for sensory issues. Like, meds aren't going to help. All that he can really do is learn to push those reactions down, which you seem to want him to do because his current reactions are inconveniencing you. So, you tell him to grow up. I get that you have cravings, and I get that this is what you craved. But you were being an to him in that moment, especially by asking him to peel it for you. If you were too weak to peel a banana, maybe you should have been in hospital. It just seems like a move to twist the knife in, because you were frustrated with his issues. YDA, you don't seem like a very sympathetic partner. Kyle_not_Lyle responded with, "Hi, Lyle here, and you're 100% right. There are certain sensory aversions I've been working on, but bananas I just can't. My girlfriend's solution is exposure therapy, which I would equate to waterboarding someone in an attempt to get them over a fear of drowning. I, too, leave the room if there's a banana because I just can't freaking deal with it. I remember eating them as a child with no issue, and then one day I couldn't anymore, and just like you, it progressively got worse after that. This obsession with my ADHD started when we found out she was pregnant. All of a sudden, her personality shifted, and I had all these problems that needed to be fixed for the sake of our child." Posted by LittleFiddle05. Please read this, because I want to share some important information from an expert perspective. I'm speaking as a neurodivergent individual who works in autism research. My field is neuroscience, but I've also been published on the topic of selective eating and food aversions, and I'm sincerely hopeful that my comment can help you to better understand your partner. First and foremost, medicating ADHD does not address food aversions or sensory sensitivities. In fact, one thing to look for when starting ADHD medications is whether those aversions worsened, because stimulants can increase anxiety and make sensory sensitivities harder to manage. You are judging your partner for not seeking ADHD treatment, but you don't seem to have made an effort to understand what that treatment would look like or what outcomes he could expect. Food sensitivities can occur for anyone, regardless of neurotype, but they are more common among neurodivergent folks, autistic, ADHD, likely due to hypersensitivity to sensory inputs. The first thing you need to understand is what these food aversions feel like for the individual, because I promise you it's even more unpleasant for him than it is for those around him. Have you ever accidentally left something in the back of the fridge for far too long, until it turns into a black, slimy sludge? I want you to picture how you would feel if you were asked to take a bite of that sludge, or even just watching someone else eat it. Even if you were told it was safe, would you be able to swallow it? Most people will respond to that thought with an intense aversion. You may even gag just thinking about it, and I'm fairly certain that if you actually did try to take a bite, you wouldn't be keeping it down. That repulsion is an adaptive response. We have evolved to be disgusted by any food that our brain perceives as unsafe to eat. It protects us from eating food that has gone rancid. It helps us to vomit immediately if we accidentally do consume something toxic. It keeps us healthy. But in some people, this adaptive process is misfiring. Your partner's brain reacts to bananas the same way your brain would react to a 3-year-old sludge found in the back of the fridge. Every instinct he has is screaming that this is poison, this is rancid, this is not safe, and even just seeing someone else eat it triggers that intense, instinctive response. Our brains don't really have a way to suppress that response, because it's generally more adaptive to just not eat the risky thing. In some cases, gradually building towards the food and learning that each step before it is indeed safe can help, but being forced or pressured has the opposite effect, creating a negative experience that reinforces the aversion. The extent to which a food aversion can be treated varies by individual. It's a very slow, effortful process, and if the individual is able to get a balanced diet, it's usually not worth the effort. Some people are unable to get needed nutrients due to food aversions, and they spend years or even decades expanding the range of foods that they can eat. If your partner is having this strong a reaction in adulthood, my guess is that he's had some experiences that could even be described as traumatic, where adults in his life tried to force him to overcome this aversion, that will make it even harder to overcome, and he can live a perfectly healthy life without consuming bananas. Ideally, it would be good if he could reduce his response to seeing them eaten, but making him peel and slice it for you is not a way to accomplish that. Your partner is not being a child, he's being a human being whose brain processes something differently than yours. Now, I won't say that means you can't eat a banana in your home. Personally, I'd consider stepping outside while you eat it a pretty small favor to avoid causing him significant discomfort, but those are boundaries for you to figure out together. But at the very least, you do need to make an effort to understand, learn a little empathy, and, most importantly, not pressure your partner regarding how he should manage a condition you clearly know nothing about, with treatments you clearly don't understand. YTA eat the banana, by all means, but it was sadistic to expect him to peel and slice it for you, and what adult needs their bananas peeled and sliced for them? I'd also note that neurodivergence is highly heritable, and there's a decent chance that your child will share some of these challenges. You can do a lot of harm, and make it so much worse, if you respond to them with the same lack of understanding and empathy that you've extended to your partner, so please start working on this before your child needs your understanding.